It is good to be home and smell the smoky fires and the boiling brines from the salt cauldrons. Auntie J said I am doing the favor of spreading news to the deep recesses of our land, out here on the edge of Pa Dlo, where only remaining things before the oceans are tree-lined waterways and insular bayou folk and old Jacare himself, wandering the wet, testing the unwary. I, on the other hand, will always see my aunties, gathered as they are around their salt cauldrons and listening to my playing, as a favor to me, a chance to rest, to test novel stories and song, and, of course, to be overly fed with enough okra and Darkmire jambalaya to render me as sedentary as a gloriously fat capiagua. For those neighbors who've wandered in and in an unlikely manner do not know me, I am here because my mama has worked as a salt wife since before I was born, just like her mama before her and her mama before that, so I know the thankless time it takes to complete good works, and that sometimes a little music helps pass the time. So if you aren't a salt wife, raking and boiling until you have enough to ship out, and you're just here to listen in or work on your own project or just to pass the time before your next grand adventure, that's all right. You'll be doing the same thing we are, spending a little time in good company with good music and good stories, trying to make it through one more day. So welcome. Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other has to say, reminiscing this and that and having such a good time. Oodle-lady, golly, what a day. Never ever thinking there was danger in the water they were drinking, they just guzzled it down. Never dreaming that a scheming sheriff and his posse was watching them and gathering around. Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest, jumping fences, dodging trees and trying to get away, contemplating nothing but escaping, finally making it. Oodle-lally, golly, what a day. Oodle-lally, golly, what a day. I was a flower grown wild and free, all I'd want is you to be my sweet honeybee. And if I was a tree growing tall and green, all I'd want is you to shade me and be my leaves. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were a river in the mountains tall, the rumble of your water would be my call. If you were the winter, I know I'd be the snow. Just as long as you were with me, let the cold winds blow. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were a wing, I'd be a knot. If you were a seed, well, I'd be a pod. If you were the floor, I'd want to be the rug. And if you were a kiss, I know I'd be a hug. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like a sea. If you were the wood, I'd be the fire. If you were the love, I'd be desire. If you were a castle, I'd be your moat. And if you were an ocean, I'd learn to float. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. You all may well know that I was invited to Asheville as, in their words, a foremost dignitary and cultural emissary of the people of the Darkmire Quarters, to participate in an exchange of goodwill, culture, and deal-making, as well as the opening of that mythical and previously unreachable sequestered city. And as I have done at my previous stops between Asheville and here, I will share what transpired in the north. This time for the true dignitaries and representative keystones of our people, the Saltwives of Pa Dlo. The first thing worth noting is that we, the Darkmire Quarters, have agreed, insofar as the Mire folk are capable of collectively agreeing on anything, to enter into an alliance between ourselves, Asheville, and the 3 other nations of the known world, the liberated cities of Azamar, the orders of Vinter in Vinland, and the collected hollers of the Woodland Republic in the Sablethorn Forest. Whether this alliance holds, fractures, or is quietly and conveniently ignored when challenges arise to face it, is not a question I can answer. I can say that the alliance has held firm against a vicious assault, and its standing in that city, once spoken of only in drunken whispers or in comedy halls, once believed imaginary and unreachable, I felt that the world had shifted beneath us. Something grandiose and awful, with deep, selfish roots sucking at the water of our souls, had noticed. And we are better for that. For if a thing reveals itself, it can be dealt with. And what I saw in that city was that the nations of the Prairie, together, are a profound and capable force. Francis, tu as tant de choses à dire, mais le tout reste enfermé. Quand tu ne sais plus quoi dire, tu te mets à pleurer, mais ça ton public le voit pas. Tu l'incites à rêver pendant que toi tu le regardes. Francis, les mots restent bien coincés devant cette fille qui ne demande pas mieux que de se faire aimer. Mais toi, tu sais pas comment t'y prendre. Ta gorge se resserre, ton cœur bat de plus belle alors que tes yeux sont sur elle. Mais moi, je ne t'oublierai pas et je compte sur toi pour venir en aide à ceux qui ressentent pour toi ce que tu écris dans ces chansons pour elle. Francis, je m'en vais bientôt et je pense très très fort à toi pendant que mes doigts au piano jouent tout ce que je te dois. Et rappelle-toi que tu peux avoir le monde à tes pieds si tu te laisses pas abattre par ceux qui te laissent de côté. Mais moi, je ne t'oublierai pas et je compte sur toi pour venir en aide à ceux qui ressentent pour toi ce que tu écris dans ces chansons pour elle. Me here underneath an old pine tree. Yeah, my body back to the earth like a river does flow. When I die, don't you cry. I lived a glorious life. I felt the love of others like a morning sun. When I die, don't be afraid, for the Maker, she calls my name. And it's all right with me to head on home. I'll fly away. I come to know the wish list of my father. I come to know the shipwrecks where he wished. I've come to wish aloud among the overdressed crowd. Come to witness now the sinking of the ship, throwing pennies from the sea top next to it. Well, I come to roam the forest past the village, a dozen lazy horses in my cart. Well, I come here to get high, to do more than just get by. I've come to test the timber of my heart. Well, I come to test the timber of my heart. I come to be untroubled in my seeking. I've come to see that nothing is for naught. I come to reach out blind, to reach forward and behind. For the more I seek, the more I am sought. Oh, the more I seek, the more I'm sought. I come to meet the sheriff and his posse. I come to offer him the broadside of my jaw. Or I come here to get broke, maybe buy my smoke. We'll go drinking 2 towns over after all. We'll go drinking 2 towns over after all. I come to meet the legendary takers. I've only come to ask them for a lot. They say I come with less than I should rightfully possess. I say the more I buy, the more I am bought. And the more I'm bought, the less I cost. And I come to take their servants and their surplus. I come to take their raincoats and their speed. I come to give my fill, to ransack and spill. I come to take the harvest for the seed. I've come to take the harvest for the seed. And I've come to know the manger that you sleep in. I've come to be the stranger that you keep. I've come from down the road, my footsteps never slowed. Before we met, oh, I knew we'd meet. Before we met, I knew we'd meet. But I come here to ignore your cries and heartaches. I've come to listen closely to you sing. I come here to insist that I leave here with a kiss. I've come to say exactly what I mean. Lord, I mean so many things. I mean so many things. You've come to know me stubborn as a butcher, and you've come to know me thankless as a guest. Will you recognize my face with God's awful grace? Strips me of my jacket and my vest, and reveals all the treasure in my chest. Music may be universally moving, but some are especially fluent in its delivery. Whatever arcane principle flows through the dry dust of Prairie, delivering her spirit without prejudice to the willing and open, regardless of class or creed, I do not know. What I do know, all who gathered in that city were represented in melody and soul. Asheville was alight with interweaving euphonious traditions from across Prairie. Heavy beats of winter drums complemented pulsing Darkmire blues. Sablethorn banjos sang melody to the drifting lullabies of Asimar's most talented harpist. And all came together for the grand ball, a triumph of musical collaboration and festive dancing. The popular circle dances of the liberated cities spun to Darkmire fiddle and Skjernholter rhythm. Mirefolk waltzes whirled to whistling Azamarian pipes and sablethorn strings. Every nation led a song, and the raucous fusion bled joy until the sun arose once again to the fragrant melange floating through the tent city. The aromas of fragrant woodland curries and sizzling winter meats graced the air. Drink flowed as generously as the music. Gloamwater passed for hollow moonshine. Meads compared between coastal Vinlandish artisans and the venerated honey hands of Azamar. Nor was it all music and feasting. Lessons were taught, open to all who wished to learn. Boasts and fears were shared over firelight. Late-night agreements were penned through long discussions. Individuals met the rest of the world for the first time and rushed to join it, to drink all the rest of Prairie up. Dwarfkin, who'd never left the forest, followed their newfound kin into the mountains. Some pitched tents among other factions, moved by amicability so quickly conferred. Ashvale's Bonacay was matched only by the liberal outpouring of hospitality demonstrated by each nation in turn. It was a lovely, lovely time. Things change fast. This too shall pass. You better carve it on your forehead or tattoo it on your ass, 'cause who can tell when the clock strikes 12? If today's become tomorrow, or it's all just gone to hell. My friend makes rings. She swirls and she sings. She's a mystic in the sense she's still mystified by things but scared to ask. How can nothing seem to last? 'Cause like a cancer in your body, it all just goes too fast. We think too big. We think ourself is one whole thing, and we claim that this collection has a name and is a being. But deep inside, where every cell divides, it sets upon the rule that states self-interest is divine, and cancer too lives by this golden rule. You must do unto the others as the others unto you, all for the best. It's all that life accepts, so we kill it like a buffalo with awe and with respect. God, just holler at the sky, 'cause she'll tell it to you plainly in the clouds that whisper by, and praise the shapes, praise the way they change. They'll teach you not to pray to light without you pray to rain. So I pray to hands, I pray to needs, and I pray the blades of grass will find forgiveness in the weeds. But as for health, I never did believe, and so I never prayed myself except to those that prayed for me. goes, or the way that I was told. There was a king that always felt too high, and then he fell too low, and so he called all the wise men to his hall, and he begged them for a gift to end the rises and the falls. But here's the thing, came back with the ring. It was simple and was plainly unbefitting of a king engraved in black. It had no front or back, but there were words around the band that said, just know this too shall pass. I do love being home, but it's not all perfect joy. Not everyone that I once knew is still here. And of the many people that I do miss, there's one in particular I've been thinking about, whose wisdom and knowledge were a gift, a wonderful gift for our world. And her absence leaves a constant ache for those who listen to her words. She wasn't a soothsayer so much as a storyteller and an imaginer of possibilities. She never told you what to think. She'd always describe the situation as it was and let you be the judge. She never shied away from hard truths or painful topics. She was a lighthouse and a lantern, illuminating the world both as warning and discovery. Near the end of her life, she made dire predictions about the prairie and all four nations that resided in it, to include, I think, the rise of the withered hand and the civil war in the liberated cities. And she was asked what the secrets were to predicting the future. I will do my best to summarize here what she wrote down, but so as to not forget Auntie O. You are missed. Now here's what she said. Imagining the future doesn't give me any special ability to foretell the future, but it does encourage me to use our past and present behaviors as guides to the kind of world we seem to be creating. The past, for example, is filled with repeating cycles of strength and weakness, wisdom and stupidity, empire and ashes. To study history is to study sentient life. And to try to foretell the future without studying history is like trying to learn to read without bothering to learn the alphabet. Some of the most mistaken predictions I've seen are of the straight line variety. That's the kind that ignores the inevitability of unintended consequences, ignores our often less than logical reactions to them, and says simply, in the future, we will have more and more of whatever's holding our attention right now. If we're in a period of prosperity, then in the future, prosperity it will be. If we're in a period of recession, we're doomed to even greater distress. Of course, predicting an impossible state of permanent prosperity may well be an act of fear and superstitious hope, rather than an act of unimaginative, straight-line thinking. And predicting doom in difficult times may have more to do with the sorrow and depression of the moment than with any real insight into future possibilities. Superstition, depression, and fear play major roles in any efforts at prediction. So why try to predict the future at all if it's so difficult, so nearly impossible? Because making predictions is one way to give warning when we see ourselves drifting in dangerous directions. Because prediction is a useful way of pointing out safer, wiser courses. Because most of all, our tomorrow is the child of our today. Through thought and deed, we exert a great deal of influence over this child, even though we can't control it absolutely. Best to think about it, though. Best to try to shape it into something good. Best to do that for any child. Annabelle, t'en vas-tu déjà si tôt? Parce que je t'ai cherché de bas en haut. Je t'ai cherché de haut en bas. Dis-moi après l'amour, où s'en va là? Oh, après l'amour, où s'en va là? J'emballe tes gants et ta dentelle et toutes les photos de ton visage, ma belle. Et j'ai gardé celle où tu patinais, ainsi qu'une ta rejoint ta bien-aimée. Annabelle, Annabelle dans le ciel. Embrasse-toi les oiseaux éternels. Peux-tu nous rendre visite ici en bas? Oh, Annabelle, tu voles près ou loin? Je te cherche mais je te trouve pas. Annabelle, je suis perdu sans toi. Toute seule, j'ai perdu totalement la foi. Tu vas plus sentir la bourdonne du printemps. Et l'hiver n'aura plus aucun sens. Et l'été sera qu'une triste vallée. Et l'été sera qu'une triste vallée. Annabelle, trouve-toi l'indépendance. Puis-je m'envelopper de ton souvenance dans une disque de ton douce voix? Mes pensées se tournent sans cesse vers toi. Annabelle, t'en vas-tu déjà si tôt? Parce que je t'ai cherché de bas en haut. Je t'ai cherché de haut en bas. Dis-moi après l'amour, où s'en va là? Oh, après l'amour, où s'en va là? One thing I like about our community is the shared stories we have. And one of my favorites is about my great-grandfather. He was an ornery man, or so they say. I have yet to hear anything particularly unpleasant about him. Perhaps some of you will remember this story, which was accounted to me by my great-grandmother, my Mémé Marais, as an example of his orneriness. You may decide yourself what exactly that means. My great-grandfather at the time was suffering from some sort of affliction, the exact nature of which I do not know, only that he had gone to Lavny for the most modern of medical interventions, and after the doctors had finished their work, he was told he may go home, but was given some rules. He was told that for the next month he was not allowed to climb stairs, and that he was not allowed to ride a horse. Well, his library was on the second floor, so the stairs thing was thrown out immediately. And a few days hence, he wanted something from town, and no one was going to tell my great-grandfather whether or not he could take his horse anywhere. And so there he was, riding into town. And this went on for a few weeks, with him riding into town as he pleased and climbing the stairs to read, and the time came to return to the doctor for a checkup. And into town he went, and the doctors looked him over and said, "Well, you look fine, and you've recovered quite well." And my great-grandfather said, "Oh, grand. Well, can I climb stairs now?" And the doctor said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, can I take my horse into town again?" And the doctor said, "Yes." And he asked, "And the piano? Can I play the piano?" And the doctor said, "Well, I don't see why you couldn't, of course." And he replied, "Well, that's grand. I've always wanted to know how to play the piano." Anyhow, I guess that's what passes for orneriness in my family. Maybe I'm ornery too. Hard to say. Anyhow. tiny church there, smallest church in Saint-Saëns, though it once was larger. How the rail may rest there, down through the mist there, toward the Seven Sisters, toward those pale cliffs there. I would often stay there, in the tiny yard there. I have been so glad here, looking forward to the past here. But now you are all alone. None of this matters. No, none of this matters. At all. Let me go back over Sablethorn. That little scar is nothing in the arms of all the things I've yet to come. I'd like to call it no big deal, but we both know I'd be lying. I can never come back if I don't go. Explain to me this affinity, naming all those settlements, the things that crop up colorful in spite of all the clouds. Like you know what's there, but don't look down. There's a perfect place that's not quite now, and that forest has got a lot of love, but those hollers might not let you out. Let me go back over Sablethorn. That little scar is nothing in the arms of all the things I've yet to come. And I'd like to call it no big deal, but we both know I'd be lying. I can never come back if I don't go. That plan may have been a waste, but we'll make it up sometime. I'll find you when we've grown apart enough. Where there's a candle, there's a light. A shadow dances right behind, saying, come to me, my son, let me test your love. From where we got flowers by that stream, where we learn backhanded love, where if you come off clever enough, you don't have to cover anything up. And this forest has done me strange, though I'm as courageous as I came. And that courage sure is honest, but it can feel like such a fickle thing. And explain to me this affinity, the naming all those settlements, things that crop up colorful in spite of all the clouds. From the southern city of my birth to the golden man stands in a cherry town, to a road stop named for mountains, women, and their family ties. The flowers by that stream, in spite of all, in spite of all, in spite of all those clouds. High upon a forgotten mountaintop lay a garden untended and dry. 'Twas a yard that hadn't felt children's feet running, for the mother long ago taught her children how to fly. Within a simple cabin untouched by industrial hands sat the aged mother in her home. You can't escape the picture frames, there's too many, she said. They keep me from feeling all alone. Well, she spoke, he was an honest man. He worked hard to put food on our plates. We had more babies than we had arms. We struggled all our lives, but the rewards were great. When my son came home from the war, he rested his head on my breast. He said, "Ma, I'm tired of being used and grinded down. I feel so low, can you make me feel like I'm the best?" My best friend truly wed a savage man. He wore her like a bad tattoo. His only love was for a bottle. She said, "There's only one thing left for me to do. I'll be wild once again, I'll take back my life, I'll run away, set flame to his tack. He won't ever know what he's been missing. I did every day, joy, freedom, dance, and love." These are the stories this mother spoke to me as I brought her garden back to grow. I was rewarded with a warm meal and tales never heard. Some call it poverty, but they'll never know. She said, "All I got's my stories and this old guitar. My crops have all come and gone away. I got a head full of recipes enticing to the taste, and a liking to wake up and greet the day. Got a bad back from raising my children, hugging my husband so tight. Well, I never cared much for any government. Go to Prairie when I feel time is right. Singing, I'm the richest I will ever be. I embrace the world I have all round me. So sing a dying song and slap your knee. Have a taste of true anarchy. Yeah, anarchy. course, despite sociability so quickly conferred, at risk from the beginning, was the principal aim of the Rendezvous des Peuples, the formation of this grand alliance. As we are all quite aware, any collective agreement in the mire is less a vote and more a momentary alignment of stubbornness. This promise of mutual aid in the ominous prophesied times ahead, the proffered agreement, it strained against the worst truths of our nations. Juvenile, untested Ashevale, schismic holler isolationism, suspicious winter stubbornness, paternalistic Asomarian bureaucracy, fickle Darkmire solipsism. And, ink still wet, the treaty was immediately put to the test against the cultic flood of the withered hand. And that tense heartbeat was a sight. All the people of Prairie stood side by side in battle against the hand in its unceasing cult. Waves of undying fanatics crashed against winter shield walls, while Asomarian cannons fired from above. The crack and twang of sable-thorn hunters split the hand's line, creating gaps for Darkmire skirmishers to slip through and sow chaos. And while I have little interest in warfare, there is no doubt that alone any one of our nations would have failed. And it is only together that the city of Ashevale was not burned. It was the commitment and cohesion of our peoples that was the bulwark that defended the city of Ashevale from the hand's assault. And, perhaps not most importantly, after the battle, I, lacking a knife or utensils, would not have had the joy of eating and sharing the watermelon I found were it not for winter cooking techniques, namely the crushing open of said watermelon between Dame Ghislaine's thighs. It is clear, in every possible sense, that we are stronger and better together, and that first gathering in Ashevale proved it. In my travels, I have eaten at many tables, shared many songs, and met many kind people. And every person, home, and community brings a unique and wonderful magic to the prairie all by themselves. But as my Mémé Marie used to say, Joparape Jajuhuva Aveva. It's in the mix that we find the greatest joy. Alright, I'll play one more for Daisy, because I know it's your favorite. Flower said, I wish I was a tree. The tree said, I wish I could be a different kind of tree. The cat wished that it was a bee. Turtle wished said it could fly really high into the sky, over rooftops and then dive deep into the sea. And in the sea there is a fish that has a secret wish. A wish to be a big cactus with a pink flower on it. In the sea there is a fish that has a secret wish. A wish to be a big cactus with a pink flower on it. And the flower be its offering of love to the desert. And the desert, so dry and lonely, all the creatures appreciate its effort. Et le jackal le pas dit, je veux être un yeti pour me voler dans la nuit et m'en aller loin d'ici. Mais le yeti a dit, je veux être un monstre marin pour me rentrer dans la mer de tous les requins. And the rattlesnake said, I wish I had hands so I could hug you like a man. And then the cactus said, don't you understand? My skin is covered with sharp spikes, it'll stab you like 1,000 knives. A hug would be nice, but hug my flower with your eyes. And the flower said, I wish I was a tree. The tree said, I wish I could be a different kind of tree. The cat wished that it was a bee. Turtle wished that it could fly really high into the sky, over rooftops and then dive deep into the sea. And in the sea there is a fish that has a secret wish. A wish to be a big cactus with a pink flower on it. And in the sea there is a fish that has a secret wish. A wish to be a big cactus with a pink flower on it. Well, it has been a joy hanging out, but I got other folks to visit, other districts to see. So you can catch me later up Bourbon Way. I'll be playing at that big sort of band hall at the end of the Muckwater. Anyway, just come find music. Even if it's not me, I'm sure you'll find someone who shows you a good time. And keep on keeping on.